AI can write code fast. That part is real. The problem is, fast code is not the same as software that you can safely ship. If you have ever built a feature and quickly got it to working and then found out it does not fit your architecture, your security rules, or even your product logic, this video is for you. This is where specification driven development comes in. In this video, I will cover three things. First, what is SDD? Second, how it really works in practice. And third, the old way versus the new way now that AI is part of the whole build process. I will also show you a simple way that you can start using without turning your workflow into paperwork. Let's really keep it simple. Specification driven development, or SDD, means that specs become the source of truth, not the code base, not the chat thread, not what someone remembers from a meeting some time ago. In many teams, people write a spec, discuss it once, and then just move on. After that, the real decisions happen in the code, Slack, and meetings. That's where things really start to drift. With SDD, the spec stays active is the thing that really drives the work. It tells teams and AI tools what needs to be built, what rules matters, and what counts as really done. So instead of saying, build an admin dashboard and leaving the rest open to interpretation, you define what admin can do, what they cannot do, what they see, what permissions they apply, and what needs testing before release. This is the real shift. SDD is not about writing more documentation. It's about getting clear enough upfront so you can move fast without rebuilding the same feature twice. This matters even more when AI is involved. AI is very good at producing output, but it still needs clear input. If the input is vague, the output can be fast and still create expensive problems later on. A practical SDD workflow usually looks like this: specify, plan, task, implement, then feedback, and then regenerate. The reason this works is simple. Each step removes ambiguity before it turns into code depth. Part 1. Specify. You start with the feature or the problem. Then you write a spec that covers the goal, user behavior, business rules, constraints, edge cases, and acceptance criteria. This is where teams often try to save time by skipping details, then they lose time later fixing the assumptions. In SDD, if something is unclear, you mark it or you resolve it. You do not let the team guess. You do not let the AI guess. That one habit improves the quality of the output a lot. Part 2. Plan. Once the spec is clear, you make the implementation plan. This is where the product intent turns into a build decision. You define things like architecture choices, data model changes, API behavior, permission rules, test approach, and rollout nodes. This step prevents a common problem. The feature looks finished in the UI, but the backend logic, permissions, or data model is still shaky. Next, you break the plan into execution tasks. Not broad tickets like build backend or do admin panel. Real tasks small enough to implement, test, review, and ship safely. This is where AI becomes much more useful in a production workflow. Instead of asking AI to build everything at once, you give it one scope task with the right context, constraints, and acceptance criteria. Part 4. Implementation. Codes plus tests. Now developers and AI tools build against the spec. That changes the standard for the work. The goal is not to just make something work. The goal is to make it match the specifications. That improves consistency, code reviews, testing, and handover between people. It also cuts down on the random patching that really slows down team later. Part 5. Feedback and regeneration. Requirements will change. That part is completely normal. In SDD, you do not start patching the code and hope everything else is still lines up. You update the spec first, then the plan, and then the tasks. And after that, the code. That keeps the change moving from intent to implementation instead the other way around. It is cleaner way to stay fast without really losing control. This part is where SDD usually clicks in. Let's compare the two approaches. The old way usually starts with a PRD document. some discussion, and then development really begins. After that, the real source of truth often becomes the code base, Slack messages, meetings, and the people who remember the decisions. Then AI gets added, and the workflow can turn into this: prompt, generate, debug, reprompt, patch, repeat. That can work for prototypes. It can feel fast, sometimes really fast. But for real products, it really creates risks. Assumptions get hidden in the code, architecture starts to drift, integration becomes fragile. Permissions get added late, security and compliance keep getting pushed to later. So yes, you may ship something, but the problems show up when the product really needs to grow. With the new way, with the specification driven development, the workflow is really different. You specify, plan, task, implement, and then regenerate when requirements change. That gives you a better operational model. The spec is versioned, the plan can be reviewed, tasks map to clear outcomes. AI works inside no constraints, and changes start at the source instead of scattered through code patches. You still move very fast. The difference is you're not only building something that demos well, you're building something that the business can really run on. SDD is not more process for the sake of process. It's a better way to use AI speed and still produce solid software. If you want to try this tomorrow, start small. For your next feature, write a one-page spec before anyone writes code. Include the goal, the user flow, the main constraints, the acceptance criteria, and then the open questions. This is enough to improve the build quality right away. Then use AI to help refine the specs, create the plan, and break work into smaller tasks. You do not need a huge system on day one. You just need a better starting point than a vague prompt.